B-Eazy Dat Dude. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. Big block engine with 26 inches on the chrome I ride. Started at the bottom, soared to the top and still on the ride. Air handshake solid, see the deal airtight. He gave you the blueprint to grind and get your hustle right. Money in the vision, it was dirty but he washed it clean. Turned a dollar to a dream, now he living like a king. From the late nights grinding to the early bird moves. Ask around the city, he really that dude. He love how he talk it cause he walk it too. Every step calculated, everything come through. From the hood by the views, yeah, the rooftop views. He the bridge between the struggle and the good life views. Never fold under pressure, shine like a diamond in the sun. Every loss was a lesson, every win is hard won. Now the crowd chant his name when he steps in the room. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, you know he's the truth. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain.
Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is gonna be a banger. Most definitely will be a doozy. Now, I don't got too much time, so I don't like to keep y'all waiting. Before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民と言っても実際に世代です。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶっとこっち見ろ。
Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, moving for me slow-mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no-ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this ring forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude, in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really in me. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad.
And we are activated, and we gonna get right into it. You know me, I don't really need too much introduction into this particular topic. Y'all seen the title, y'all seen the thumbnail. This first video that I will be reacting to, give me uno momento, is from The Hill Rising. This video is titled DOJ Removing Access to Thousands of Epstein Files, right? So what is with these people trying to cover up one of the greatest, if not the greatest, pedo scandal ever known to man, right? All of the people that are supposed to be pro-life, all of the white nationalists and the people who believe that white people are under attack. You know who was under attack? White women, because they didn't want to deal with black women, right? They didn't want any N-words around them. So they were targeting and fixated on young, lily white women. They are the true victims. What justice are they getting? Instead of justice for the victims, all we have is obfuscation, shilling, and caping for these alleged and proven pedos. So let's get into this video.
Tens of thousands of files related to Jeffrey Epstein that were previously made public.
According to CBS, right now, about 2.7 million pages from the Epstein files have been made public, which is lower than the initial estimate of 3 million, and a number that their analysis shows is fluctuating. So far, they estimate the DOJ has taken down more than 47,000 files, many in response to criticism over survivors' personal information and photos, but the report also cites a call log with all of its names redacted and images of Epstein's jail cell, where investigators say that he hanged himself. Those were both taken down. Now, the DOJ responded to the allegations in a combative way, telling CBS that their analysis appears to be fundamentally flawed, and they said the department has not deleted any files from the library, but they note that more than 47,000 files are offline for further review and would be ready to be republished later this week. CBS did admit that they appeared to be putting some files back up.
Despite their dismissal of the CBS analysis, the fact that the DOJ would take down any previously published files is stirring theories online. Of course, the Lincoln Project writing on X, this is a cover-up. And House Democrats on the Oversight Committee asking in their own post, why does the DOJ continue to take down Epstein files? Who is directing this? Who are they protecting? That committee continues to investigate high-profile figures named in the documents. You'll remember last week the Clintons gave their testimony in a closed-door session, and just yesterday, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick volunteered to testify before the committee. That's expected to happen in the coming weeks. And committee chair James Comer says, like the Clintons, a transcript of his testimony will also be released.
The Democratic Party has Epstein derangement syndrome.
Nope, you're not making
They have Epstein derangement syndrome. Look.
So here he is right here. This dude is a stooge. Both of these people are stooges, but this is one of the stoogiest of stooges. Robbie, whoever this dude is, I forgot what his last name is, Robbie Suave or something like that, right? He's saying that the Democrats have Epstein derangement syndrome, right? Why is he making this a partisan issue? This should be an American issue, right? Because we're so pro-life, and he is a alleged libertarian, right? But he says that he sides with the conservatives and the right wing on many what they would call culture war or social issues, right? But suddenly when it comes to protecting the victims, who were mostly all white, he's saying that there's derangement syndrome about a notorious pedo ring, right? So he's saying, oh, there's nothing to see here. Let's just sweep it under the rug. Let's move on, right? What got more coverage, more analysis, and more extensive scrutiny? Diddy having a bunch of bottles of baby oil, or this epi pedo ring? What is more severe, right? Because Diddy was accused of being a POS, right? I won't give a retort to that. He is a POS, but to act like he's the biggest, baddest boogeyman to ever walk the face of the earth, what Diddy was doing in those freak-offs were consensual. So you can think that, hey, it's distasteful. It was distastefully consensual, outside of him beating the crap out of Cassie, which I don't condone, but they settled out of court for that. Cassie was okay taking 30 plus million and said, hey, look, I didn't want to get my head bashed in, but we came to an amicable agreement and she was compensated for that, right? So people keep trying to conflate what he did to Cassie in the hallway to a bunch of consensual freak-offs, right? But many of those young girls in the pedo files and went to this pedo paradise island, they were too young to consent. What is a bigger deal? people being doused in baby oil at a consensual freak off, or young girls getting various orifices played and fondled with by a bunch of old pervs?
They took down some of the files they published because everybody got mad at them because alleged survivors, photos were
they took down some redacted call logs and the information from Epstein's jail cell.
Anyone happy here.
No, you can't not follow the law. The law is release everything. You still have.
Why is this dude so annoyed about the releasing of these files and transparency and exposure of who the actual pedos are? And he's saying, you can't make anyone happy. Of course, you're not going to make anyone happy if you release redacted files, if you are being tight-lipped, and if you're trying to engage in a cover-up of a notorious pedo ring. Of course, you're not going to make people happy. But why is he so irritated, though?
Has Epstein derangement syndrome.
Nope, you're not making up a term.
Epstein derangement syndrome. Look, they took down some of the files they published because everybody got mad at them because alleged survivors, photos were
they took down some redacted call logs and the information from Epstein's jail cell.
Anyone happy here.
No, you can't not follow the law. The law is release everything. You still haven't released 2 million files and you're taking 65,000 pages away, 47,000 documents. No, release, do your job, follow the law.
So there's millions and millions of pedophiles. They released some, and what they released was largely redacted. They released some controversial things so that it stays in the news cycle, that people speculate, but they didn't release anything definitive. They have all of the definitive proof. They have the specific names, dates, and places, right? They say that they're trying to protect the victims. Fine, redact all of the information that would expose the victim's name. But why won't they release actual names of people that engaged in these acts, either allegedly or definitively, right? Even if someone allegedly committed a crime, right? They said a lot of things that Bill Cosby allegedly did. They said a lot of things that Diddy allegedly did. But when it comes to this notorious pedo ring, suddenly they're tight-lipped on what those names allegedly did. Could it happen to be because 99.9% of them were white males? Could that be the issue? Right? There's no, oh, it was the Republicans, it was the Democrats. Okay, which Republicans? Oh, the white ones. Oh, which Democrats? Oh, the white ones.
People yelled at them for revealing public
redacted call logs and the information from Epstein's jail cell.
Anyone happy here.
No, you can't not follow the law. The law is release everything. You still haven't released 2 million files and you're taking 65,000 pages away, 47,000 documents. No, release, do your job, follow the law.
These same people yelled at them for revealing private information about alleged victims, and it's like, are we gonna share everything or not? Are we protecting people's feelings or not?
Are we gonna have clear order or not? Is the FBI going to do its job and redact important information and not try to protect certain people that are wealthy and happen to be powerful men? Or are they going to move forward and do their job and provide it to the DOJ and allow the DOJ?
How can you possibly? I don't think this task can actually be done perfectly. The act of declassifying and determining and going through 3 million pages and making sure.
Now, this is the ultimate level of gaslighting. He said he doesn't think that this could be done perfectly. Bruh, just release the files. No one says that it has to be done perfectly. There's millions and millions of file. They release hundreds of thousands of them. Yeah, but you're still millions short, right? And then those files that they release, they came back and said, oops, my bad. We're going to take tens of thousands of those files and tuck them off into an archive, never to see the light of day again. And this dude is a libertarian. These people are always against small government. I mean, they're always against big government and all this other type of stuff, right? Big government is in the business of hiding things, redacting things from the public and saying, hey, just trust me, bro. No, I'm not trusting you. You presided over this pedo ring, and you guys did nothing about it. The Democrats that are trying to say, release the files, bro, you guys were in office for, out of the past 20 years, Democrats have been in office for about 12 of them, right? Epi was running amok when they were in office. You know, he got sweetheart deals when they were in office. They didn't do anything to go after this dude forcefully and vigorously, right? So now they're trying to play politics and say that, hey, it's Trump. It's really the Republicans that don't want to release those files. Those files don't just have Republicans in there because, you know, when it comes to being pedos in America, that's a nonpartisan issue. So there were Republican, Democrats, you know, probably politically affiliated pedos in that list. People should want to know this, right? People say, why didn't they just comply? And we're a nation of laws. But suddenly when it comes to the pedo rings, people just want, forget about the law. You have Epstein derangement syndrome. No, I want to protect those beautiful young girls who some were trafficked, some were assaulted and abused, and all of them were violated.
Powerful men, or are they going to move forward and do their job and provide it to the DOJ and allow the DOJ?
How can you possibly? I don't think this task can actually be done perfectly. The act of declassifying and determining and going through 3 million pages and making sure you get out there.
When you say, now can't we just fire him? Who are you talking about? Who should be getting fired? And yes, this has been in the court for many years. And this is why I say both parties are the same. Two cheeks on the same booty, two fangs on the same viper. It's like the good cop, bad cop, or if you're watching WWF or WWE, Stone Cold versus The Rock, right? You think that they hate each other and they're going against each other. They're fighting, but they're still beholden to the rules and the parameters of what the establishment sets, right? The Democrats are part of the establishment. The Republicans, part of the establishment. Neither one of them are going to upset the apple cart.
Every shred of information, no matter how irrelevant or made up or false, to everyone's satisfaction, but without exposing anyone who is allegedly harmed by Epstein to any further psychological harm, seems like a task that is bound to be screwed up sometimes in some ways.
Sometimes jobs are hard. The FBI and DOJ have a job. Certain things that people want re-released or released in the first place are flight logs, prison surveillance footage, investigative memos, photos from Epstein's homes and island. Don't take those things off because it looks like, okay, they have removed some things and people have questions about, of course, protect any survivors. That was from the beginning. I think Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna were both saying, please make sure.
But this is the thing. They're not protecting any survivors. All they're doing is protecting and shielding pedos. They're pedo sympathizers and pedo shields. What survivors are being protected? No one even really knows the names of the survivors. They say that the survivors are alleged victims, right? But what about the pedos, right? They have information that definitively shows that pedo activity went on. Why won't they list the names of the people who engaged in pedo activities? Not the people that we are speculating, the people that they have concrete proof, unless they're saying that they have no concrete proof of any of that. And if that's the case, why won't they just come out and say that? Instead, they're just leaking, files here. We gave you tens of thousands of files out of 2+ million. You know what I mean? So they sprinkle you with some crumbs and then they redact the crumbs. So what do you really have, right? The only thing that they definitively have is Epstein saying that he didn't want blacks around and that they were calling black people niggers. Okay, newsflash. No one is shocked by that. That's not an epiphany, right? Fine. You call black people niggers, right? Okay, tell me more about those lily white victims, right? Because Let's be honest, right? No one cares about the anti-blackness in the Epstein files. No one cares about him hunting black people, manipulating black people, oppressing black people. No one cares about that. Fine. So let's not talk about it. Y'all do care about the beautiful young white girls that they were assaulting. So people are saying that this is Epstein derangement syndrome. No, it's not. We want justice, right? All the people that say they are conservative and have conservative values, what is conservative about covering up a pedo ring? What is conservative about licking the boots of Trump and any Zionist that says, hey, there's nothing to see here, right? People will try to say, well, what about Chicago? What about Chicago? Oh, you talking about some musty, crusty, dusty nigga from the hood that did a drive-by? Guess what? He was held accountable by the DOJ. They plastered his name everywhere. They plastered his face everywhere. And then they gave him a long, extended prison time. Right? That's accountability. Could we say the name about the pedos? Right? A dude from the hood, he was held accountable for his crimes. You do the crime, you do the time. Who is doing the time for this pedo ring? Epstein, who allegedly offed himself, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's been treated better than some people that are living in their own condo, being given a little dog. I mean, who knows what else she's getting? Is she getting mani-pedis and back rubs as well? I wouldn't be shocked.
Certain things that people want re-released or released in the first place are flight logs, prison surveillance footage, investigative memos, photos from Epstein's homes and island. Don't take those things off because it looks like, okay, they have removed some things and people have questions about, of course, protect any survivors. That was from the beginning. I think Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna were both saying, please make sure we're protecting survivors in all this. No, I'm not going to stand here while you sit here and call women who...
And shout out to the Brody, JB Quinn in building.
Remove some things and people have questions about, of course, protect any survivors. That was from the beginning. I think Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna were both saying, please make sure we're protecting survivors in all this. No, I'm not going to stand here while you sit here and call women who are accusing Jeffrey Epstein of doing criminal activity to them, which he's been convicted of already, of prostitution of minors, liars. That's not appropriate.
They're lying when they suggest other people are involved and provide no evidence.
Because which basis, though? Which basis? They don't have to. A victim does not have to provide evidence to tell you that more people were involved if they were a child that got taken advantage of.
So here you have Robbie saying that the victims are liars, right? But he's not saying that the DOJ are liars. He's not saying that Trump are liars. He knows that Trump is a liar. He knows that the people in the Department of Justice are liars. He won't call them liars, but he will call the alleged and reported victims liars. I wonder why that is. And this dude claims to be a libertarian and he stands for conservatism and right-wing values. But what does that even mean? I thought right-wing values was about the nuclear family. And especially this dude, he subscribes to many people like Tim Pool and Nick Fuentes and Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk, who said, we need more white babies. Okay, fine. Here you have plenty of white babies, young white girls who are being violated by pathetic and perverted old white men. But instead of holding them accountable, people like Robbie the Stooge is saying, get over it. You have derangement syndrome. And this is supposed to be the best the high IQs have to offer? Pathetic.
That's not appropriate.
They're lying when they suggest other people are involved and provide no evidence.
Because which basis, though? Which basis? They don't have to. A victim does not have to provide evidence to tell you that more people were involved if they were a child that got taken advantage of. You don't, but the American public has asked for transparency in this. And so the FBI and DOJ have to follow the law. No, we haven't. Every file is not released yet. And so there shouldn't be any adamant perspective coming from not releasing this stuff when the American public on both sides has called for the release of this stuff. At least try to do it as little sloppily as you can. And the FBI has had a hard time doing that. And mind you, Cash Patel over there partying, drinking beer.
How about the woman
out of the country?
That Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump sexually assaulted her together in South Carolina, a place that neither of them ever visited, and we know that to be the case. Can I call that person a liar?
If you have an example of one person that lied about sexual assault, that doesn't mean that every person that lied connected to Epstein of sexual assault is. I mean,
Well,
every
I
person
didn't say
connected to
I didn't
Epstein
say they
is
lied
lying.
about Epstein. No, I mean they lied about their ages when they encountered Epstein, and they initially said nothing wrong happened, and then they changed their stories years later.
And if the
But
law
I
requires the
accept-
investigation to be transparent, let's transparently release the files. You've been calling for this thing to end. The only way that it can end is if they stop playing games and deleting stuff like jail cell information and release everything.
It baffles me that more people can't see that this is a witch hunt and a conspiracy theory out to get Trump, and the fool.
So now Trump is the victim, right? Can someone cue the tiny violin? This is a witch hunt. They're out to get Trump. If it's a witch hunt, release all the files, and then people will be able to go through the files, decipher them, and say, you know what? Hey, you were right all along, bruh. We have all of the files. We went through them. This is a witch hunt. Instead, they're releasing files, redacting them, and said, oops, my bad. We didn't mean to release those files. Give us those files back. Hey, there's nothing to see here. Why do you guys want to see the files? You have derangement syndrome. Huh? What the fuck is this goofy dude talking about? And they're paying him a lot of money to give this level of analysis with this dorky looking haircut.
And deleting stuff like jail cell information and release everything.
It baffles me that more people can't see that this is a witch hunt and a conspiracy theory out to get Trump, and the fools in MAGA who did not perceive that this is just a political thing Democrats are pursuing to embarrass Trump, for even though he's guilty of absolutely nothing connected to Epstein.
He wouldn't be embarrassed any less or more than Hillary and Bill Clinton, and they seem like they're going to be fine. So he can go up there.
They didn't do anything wrong either.
So then he shouldn't be worried about it. That's the top level of embarrassment. He'll be fine.
I'm not worried on his behalf. I'm just think it's all.
A witch hunt is not a successful witch hunt if that's the only thing that happens. You have to testify and tell the truth.
Okay, well, plenty of people are suffering as a result of this, are facing consequences as a result of this never-ending investigation and document dump.
Who the fuck is suffering over this Pedo document dump? He said plenty of people are suffering, but he couldn't even name one. This is why I would have asked him, okay, who's suffering? And then he's trying to say that, oh, Trump is suffering, right? They tell black people to not have a victim mentality, but doesn't this sound like a victim mentality? Trump is suffering. You mean the president, the person that they call the leader of the free world? He's a victim. The president of the United States is a victim, right? So black people suffer through actual subjugation and oppression. Shut up, nigger. Stop complaining. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Trump was engaged in pedo activities. Even if you say, hey, he didn't touch girls. Okay, fine. Maybe he didn't. But he was around a bunch of pedos, right? What does that make him? If you see a black dude hanging on the corner, he can be a 4.0 straight A student. But if he's hanging around a bunch of gangbangers, they're going to be saying, man, he's just like those other thuggish black dudes, right? But then when it comes to pedos, dudes are hanging around, schmoozing it up with pedos. No, you can't call him a pedo. He was just hanging around pedos. You hang with chickens, you gon' cluck. You hang with eagles, you're gonna fly. You are who you hang with, right? If you're in some homeless encampment every day hanging around a bunch of homeless people and, you know, you look a little dusty and dirty, what are people going to perceive and presume? That you're homeless. It could be far from the truth, but that's what people are going to perceive. So maybe Trump isn't a pedo. He just has an inclination for hanging out and schmoozing it up and yucking it up with pedos, right? But hey, he's not a pedo. He just befriends them, right?
And
if a private company
will
decides
have
to
no
let somebody
private-
go because they have poor moral judgment, they're allowed to do that.
If a private company lets someone go because the government published uncorroborated, anonymous lies about them,
No, showed
I
email
think
of constant
that's maybe
communication
different.
with somebody who's a known predator. That's what it shows. So you have bad judgment. We don't want you to work here. That's okay. And if there were financial criminal activities going on with Epstein that have nothing to do with, any of this cabal that you're talking about, that's still a crime. You got to go.
So cancel culture is good again.
It's not
back on
who's canceling. You committed a crime.
Here he is gaslighting. Who's canceled? Like she said, who's canceling? Who's being canceled? The only person that got canceled was the lead pedo in charge, who was Epi, and he was canceled under peculiar circumstances. But I got to give a shout out to my brother. JB Quinn came in hot with the 5 spot. I salute you, brother. Thank you for that contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's commence.
Crime. Putting people in prison because they commit
Sending an
crimes.
email to Jeffrey Epstein is not a crime.
No. Colleges and businesses are allowed
These
to
people
fire
being
whoever
fired,
they want, or step away from their job.
No one who's being fired, the people you're referencing, has been even alleged to have committed a crime, let alone convicted of committing a crime. The only person convicted, prosecuted for any crime here is Jeffrey Epstein, and now these British people for financial crimes. And that's fine. I don't care.
So now he's pretending like, because no one else was convicted, hey, there's nothing to see here. The only person we can definitively say committed a crime was Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, the only reason why you can say that is because they won't release the files. So he's just saying this derangement syndrome, move on. Mind you, this was the most notorious pedo ring in U.S. history, right? Guess what got more coverage? Diddy had bottles of baby oil, right? Bottles of baby oil got more coverage, right? Bottles of baby oil being rubbed on consenting adults got more coverage than old, perverted, pompous pricks fondling and penetrating young girls. How grotesque and pathetic could you be?
Hang them. I don't care. Don't really hang them, obviously, but throw the book at them is what I meant. But I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about.
We got a wrap. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was grilled by lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
Okay, and like I said, I won't be here for a long time, but a strong time. So I'm going to transition into the other story real quick. I just want to see, let me see what the comments were saying. And I left a comment on here too. I don't know if y'all could see this. Hold on, let me try to make this a little bit bigger. Give me one moment. Okay, yeah, so I put Robbie is an establishment stooge and a PDF file sympathizer. Somebody put they redact and protect perpetrators, not victims. Why is he so angry about files being released? Holy smokes, the gaslighting during the campaign. They were talking so much about releasing the files. Now it's a Democrat hoax. Yikes. Release everything. How dare you release everything and not redact the victim's personal information? As little sloppily as you can. Could care less about what Robbie is arguing. We need accountability of the DOJ that lied on multiple occasions to the American people. I concur. Notice that Robbie called the victims liars, but he didn't call anyone in the DOJ liars. Robbie is in the yet to be released Peter Thiel files. Once again, people were talking about Diddy had bottles of baby oil, but they had nothing to say about Peter Thiel and Palantir doing mass surveillance on you. Now I know Robbie is complicit in the gaslighting and trying to get people to move on from Epstein Gate. At first, he said there wasn't anything compromising or anything proving any wrong. But now he's making excuses for the DOJ removing files to protect alleged victims. These elite trust fund babies showing why they are allowed to be public information gatekeepers. And I concur. Mic drop. So I'm going to do one other video and then I will be ready to shut her down. And y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. And Roger Meadows coming in, he said when Bree left, Rising was at 2.95. Now it's at 2.1. Correct, because it's tanking. And I don't even support the Rising. I only react to the mainstream, lamestream videos to debunk and dismantle their narratives. Because even though they are the legacy media and more people pay attention to public figures and influencers, the legacy media still does drive the narrative. So if you don't have a counter narrative, their narrative becomes law and the standard. And of course, we got sunlight from the Sunshine State shining brighter than a diamond in the building. And salute to Roger Meadows as well. So like I said, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. So I just got to pull up this other video. And while I'm waiting, feel free to hit your boy with a like. It won't cost you a fee. The likes are free.
If you feel the vibe, like, share, and subscribe. We growing on this journey. Come and take a ride. If you wanna slide with that dude, be easy. We going all the way to the top, believe me. All the way to the top, believe me.
Okay, so we back at it. So this video I'm going to be reacting to is from the Honorable Tim Black. And he says, why Jasmine Crockett lost the Texas Dem Senate primary and what's next. It appears that Jasmine Crockett, who I call Jasmine Crash Out Crockett, it appears that she got her Democratic nigga wake up call. She wanted y'all to vote blue no matter who. And they said, hey, girl, you black, get the hell to the back. You know, our constituents that we're pandering now to are the Latinos. So let's get into it.
It's lost. The Democratic Party let it happen. Now, let me tell you the truth that you won't hear on CNN. My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. So Jasmine Crockett was in a competitive primary against James Tallarico.
We should all be standing together, Democrats, Republicans, and we should all be raising hell. But unfortunately, this was always the plan.
She was out to a big lead in the very beginning. Back in December when she launched, she was killing it. There was no sign of James Tallarico. In fact, I'd say 90% of America had no idea who James Tallarico was. And that, sir, is not an understatement. Fam, nobody knew this guy. But people in Texas, they warmed up to him. Why? Because he was soft-spoken, easy to get along with. He seemed less divisive.
Oh, you just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm
No,
down.
because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized.
Miss
I can't hear you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
Calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm
don't
down.
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise
down.
and then
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
And that's really what this came down to. See, what
Yeah, so right there, that was an example of Mrs. Crockett, Crash Out Crockett, crashing out. And the Democrats loved it. Yes, queen. She do her old sister girl thing. But they saying they put her in they typecast her as that Jezebel, or should I say the Sapphire caricature, right? And they don't mind her doing those types of what they would call ghetto antics, you know, in favor of the Democratic establishment, but they use her as a political crash out dummy. So she's supposed to crash out. She's supposed to be doing all the finger wagging, the eye rolling, the head and the neck snapping. She's supposed to do all that in favor of pushing a Democratic agenda that is working to actively displace and replace Black American political and economic power, right? But all because she wants to move up in the ranks. She's okay with that, right? And look what they did. They said, hey, look, thanks, darky. Thanks for crashing out for us. Now go sit your dark ass over there. Dark and lovely, No, they said, yeah, you was dark and lovely when you crashing out. Now you're dark and you're a loser because you lost to this Tallarico dude. Nobody even know where the hell this dude come from. It was wall-to-wall coverage of Crockett said this. Jasmine Crockett says this. Rising star, Jasmine Crockett. And then now when the rubber meets the road, then they said, oh, we're going to go with the safe W guy. You know what I mean? Oh, we love you. You're a sister girl. Black women are the backbone of the party. Okay, so are you going to pick the backbone of the party? No, we're going to go with the white dude. But I thought you said the black women were the backbone. Yeah, they're the backbone to help us usher in more white people. So thank you, Crash Out Crockett, for crashing out and helping the white guy win.
They won't tell you on CNN is that besides being a star, being up against Trump, being a celebrity a political celebrity, roasting people and what have you, Jasmine Crockett.
And people always forget that Obama, they try to call him the first black president. He's the first Kenyan biracial president. But of that biracial mix, what is his other parent? Oh, I forgot. That would be a W person, right? So Obama connected more to Tallarico than he did to Crockett. He sees Crockett as just some ghetto yes queen that he would never want to be associated with. But he sees Tallarico as a family member, right? As one of those family members on his mom's side that he grew up with, right? So he went out of his way to endorse them. And remember, he was wagging his finger at black men, talking about, I think you guys don't want to elect black women. Where the fuck are the black women to hold Obama bitch ass accountable? Tether Obama accountable. Tether Obama went to some moist, effeminate black men and said that, hey, I don't think you guys want to vote for a black woman. We would vote for a black woman, but Kamala Harris is an Asian Indian woman. So what black woman are you talking about again? Right. So he's over there saying we don't want to vote for a black woman. And then when there's a clear black woman, he endorses a white dude. Oh, the guy is really talented. What the fuck has Tallarico done? He literally hasn't done anything. And, you know, they were propping him up, you know, with a lot of DNC cash, you know what I mean? So I really don't see the talent in Tallarico. And even though Jasmine Crockett may have, you know, some level of talent, it just is irrelevant because it's going to be used. All of her talent, expertise, and acumen will just be used to serve the Democratic establishment, which has already made the call that, hey, we don't give a fuck about the blacks. We're going to pander towards minorities and immigrants. This is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants. This is why you keep hearing that rhetoric, to desensitize you to immigration. So when they flood your community with immigrants, they say this is a nation of immigrants. So that's why we dumped all the immigrants in a black neighborhood, right? They'll tell you how the schools are failing, the schools are failing, black on black crime and all this other type of stuff, right? And the way to help the failing schools is to bring in a bunch of non-English speaking immigrants. Surely that will help the black people, right? And then when we say, hey, look, man, y'all so worried about these crimes, if only we had the funds to create more after school programs, enrichment, things like that. No, we don't have the funds because they've been given to the new arrivals, the immigrants, right? We have to help them. But I thought y'all said y'all didn't have funds. No, we had funds. We just didn't have the funds for you, right? So just look it up. How could someone come over here seeking asylum, fleeing, you know, a refugee crisis with allegedly 50 cents in their pocket, but, you know, suddenly they have a place to live? I know, shout out to Sunlight. She's in Florida, right? If she was struggling in Florida and she said, I only got $2 in my pocket, I'm thinking about moving to Utah. I'm thinking about moving to Delaware. Would anyone recommend that? They'll say, girl, you stupid as hell. Why the hell would you move to another state with $2 in your pocket? But suddenly people think it's smart from non-citizens, people from another country, to enter in the country illegally with $2 in their pocket. That shit don't even make sense. Okay, you came here with $2 in your pocket allegedly, but you also have your family here. How'd you get diapers? How'd you get food? That $2 have seemed to stretch a long type of way. And then they refuse to tell you about the NGOs and all of these programs that are specifically allocated for immigrants. citizens can't get access to it, but immigrants can.
Did not have a lot of advantages. How'd she go from being up maybe 20 points to losing by 10? Jasmine Crockett would like to say that it was race. Well, in this race, it was more to it than just race. Maybe it was the fact that Jasmine Crockett was...
And we've been joined by an illustrious guest, my boo, what it do in the building.
Outspent 5-1. And that may work in a district race. Maybe you can work around it. You can do your town halls and knock on a bunch of doors. But see, in a state as big as Texas, that dog won't hunt. So she was outspent 5-1. And we're talking about they gave Tallarico the ability to put ads up, to get in TV ads, do a lot of TV ads early on. In fact, Jasmine Crockett didn't stop putting up TV ads to the very end. That was probably due to money, because TV ads cost a lot of money, and when you got 5 times more money, well, obviously you can run 5 times more ads. Tallarico wasn't endorsed by Cardi B.
Listen up, y'all. Early primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up there and represent you and represent your issues.
And even Kamala Harris came out in support of Jasmine Crockett. So damn, Tim Black is giving me all these reasons. 90% of races are won by money. Whoever has the most money wins the race. Has nothing to do with race, has to do with money. Of course, race is a factor, gender is a factor. Hell, what kind of weather there is the day of voting day is a factor. If it rains, it's a factor. It's a factor if your dog dies, or if you run out of gas in your car. But money always plays a factor. Number 2, fam. Jasmine Crockett got a lot of black voters, and she was focused on getting the blacks to the yard. A lot of black Americans came out and supported Jasmine Crockett. In fact, 87% of black Americans voted for Jasmine Crockett. Thing is, it just wasn't enough. It's not enough black Americans in Texas to help you beat against James Tallarico if he gets white voters and Hispanic voters and 13% of black voters. Well, that's a coalition.
So Jasmine Crockett overwhelmingly got the black vote, 87%. But guess who won the Latino vote? The white dude. And this is why people need to drop using that goofy, idiotic, offensive term, people of color. What is the point of even using that term to pretend as if we're in this coalition based on color? Many of the Latinos identify as racially white. And there's nothing wrong with being white. There's nothing wrong with identifying as white. There is an issue if you're white one day and then you're a person of color the other day. And just ask these people of color, what color are they? Most foundational black Americans, their skin tone is not actually black. It's actually brown. So when they say black and brown, it's really brown and brown. Many of the people that we call brown aren't even brown. And the people that are brown don't identify as brown. What color is AOC? Is AOC brown? What color is J-Lo? Is J-Lo brown? Mayor Wu in Boston, what color is she? Surely not yellow. What color is Lucy Liu? Surely not yellow. All of these people are considered people of color, but nobody knows what color they are. And the prison system is a microcosm of society. When the brown Mexicans and Latinos go into the prison yard, you think they would side with the other people of color. No, but they sign with the people of no color. They side with the Aryans in the woods, right? Just like when it comes time to vote, right? They had a choice to vote for a melanated woman who's not black, but she was melanated, right? They had a chance to vote for her, and they said, no, I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump, the white dude or the orange dude, right? Donald Trump has a darker complexion than AOC, but AOC is considered a person of color, right? And then when the rubber meets the road, all of these POCs, they always vote for the people of no color. So why are we pretending that there's some coalition based on skin pigment anyways? Groups don't have allies, they have interests. So these other groups saw and was like, yeah, hey, we like you, sister girl. We like you crashing out for the Democratic establishment. We just don't like you enough to vote for you. We'll vote for the W's.
That they didn't even think was possible. A coalition of voters that may pull some moderate Republicans. That's supposed to be dead and stinking in the Democratic Party. So I'll spend with money, broader coalition. Those are two things that are very relevant, have nothing to do with whether you like Jasmine Crockett or not. But it's more than that. I'm telling you, folks, there's more reasons why Jasmine Crockett lost. And these are things that were controllable for her. You may not be able to control how much money you have. You may not be able to control if you're running against a white pastor, seminary. You might not be able to control that. But you can't control the fact you don't have a campaign manager. Jasmine Crockett did not have a campaign manager. She was not running a very organized campaign. And at the end of the day, a state as big as Texas, you need infrastructure. You need things in place. You can't run this willy-nilly based on your feels. You need somebody who's done it before, who knows what they're doing, and how to build this apparatus that you're going to need to beat a statewide race. Jasmine Crockett was relying on making black people feel like they have to come out and vote for her. Celebrity endorsements, how big her social media following was, and race and gender, identity politics. Jasmine Crockett's making decisions in her campaign solely up to her. And let's face it, Johnson, if you're the decider in chief on everything in your campaign, and even if people disagree with your tactics, are they going to be able to tell you you're the candidate and the decider? Now you're going to end up with a bunch of yes people around you. Even when you're making a dumb call, they're going to go with you. Why? Because they want to stay employed. They don't want their careers destroyed. Because, I don't know, it just appears to me that Jasmine Crockett may be a type of person that holds a grudge.
How will you make voters who previously voted for Trump, particularly given that you have been an outspoken critic and he has inserted himself, just take your campaign video as is. He has inserted himself at every turn when it comes to your commentary. How will you convert those who are supportive of him to voters for you?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily convert all of Trump's supporters. That's not our goal.
Do you need to?
Our goal is to definitely talk to people. No, we don't. We don't need to.
Yeah, when you're wearing all the hats, when you're running the campaign, you are the campaign, your social media is carrying the campaign, and then you're running on ego and self-esteem and all that stuff, charisma and all that stuff. That's what's got you in the race. Yeah. You might not want to listen to advice. We got money, we got diversity, we got the coalition that James Salarico have, then we have lack of focus, lack of structure in your campaign. These are a lot of things to overcome. I want my flowers on this one. I told you that Jasmine Crockett was not going to win this race. How did I know this? Because everything you do online does not translate into wins when it comes to the electoral ballots. I learned a thing or two from seeing other candidates lose races. It's gotten so bad that Jasmine Crockett has resorted to basically saying, I was stopped by the Republicans. So every measure shows the Republicans will do a lot better against Jasmine Crockett than they.
And this why Jasmine Crockett will continue to lose, and she's going to have to ride off into the sunset, because it was the Democratic establishment who set Jasmine Crockett up for failure. And all she does is with the ET finger, but it was them Republicans. They don't like to see a black woman win. Neither do the Democrats. The Republicans never said that the black women are the backbone of the party. Democrats said that, and this is how they treat their backbone. They treat non-citizens better than Jasmine Crockett, who is a citizen and has a proven track record of crashing out for the DNC. They said, hey, thank you, nigget. And yeah, we're going to move on to Jorge and Emmanuel, Maria, and Delilah, right? Okay. This is what you wanted, Jasmine.
Well, against Tallarico. So what point would they have to hurt Jasmine Crockett specifically when she's easier to defeat? Doesn't make sense. Then Jasmine Crockett basically was going scorched earth out of frustration, saying that racism in the Democratic Party is what stopped her. When at the end of the day, maybe it was just electability. They didn't think that you would be able to.
Yes, and y'all know what I say. All politics is identity politics, but Jasmine Crockett was running on that, yes, queen, you go, girl. You know what I mean? She was running on that kind of sister girl strategy more so than building a cohesive coalition. She was pandering and caping towards the Latinos, but it was more rhetorical than tangible, right? So she was ingratiating herself with other communities, but there wasn't a lot of policy that she was talking about. Can anyone tell me what her policies that she's running on? Maybe she has some great policies. It's just you don't know about them. Everything that you know from Jasmine Crockett is her getting into spats with Marjorie Taylor Greene and calling Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels, a bunch of political theatrics, but not a lot of meat and potatoes when it comes to tangibles. So Roger says if she would have stopped running on her race and included things like labor policy, lifting the minimum wage to $45 an hour, talk about worker cooperative, lowering the housing costs, even if you're going to lose going out swinging. But, you know, she ran a feckless and pathetic campaign. But shout out to Phoenix Fire. Shout out to Tay Baby. A-Tay-Bay, and Big Rig Slaps in building. Now I got a hard stop, so I'm gonna have to get out of here pretty soon. So I only got like a couple minutes left. I may come back and hit y'all later with a double header, depending on how y'all feeling this one. But I just want to tap in with the people just to be consistent and to just let you know that Jasmine Crash Out Crockett has been giving her walking papers. The DNC gave her nigga wake-up call.
Beat the Republican, even if you did beat Tallarico, then Tallarico actually carries the bigger possibility of winning the whole thing. And at the end of the day, what good is winning the primary if you lose the general?
Yes, we need a fighter. And I was so ready to vote for Jasmine Crockett because I love her. But I voted for Tallarico because we need somebody who can win.
Now, Jasmine Crockett had a lot of things to prove, whether fairly or unfairly. People are looking at the long range goal, not just your personal ambitions. But if you win the primary, will you carry the general?
Yes, we need a fighter. And I was so ready to vote for Jasmine Crockett because I love her. But I voted for Tallarico because we need somebody who can win.
Oh, so here you have this kooky, suspected Karen lady. Oh my God, I love Jasmine Crockett. I was going to vote for her. But I needed to vote for someone who wins, so I went with the white dude. What the fuck are you crying for? You already knew you was going to vote for the white dude, but she's crying and said, oh my God, I just love black women so much. And that's why I voted for the white dude, to prove how much I love black women. Okay.
Now, Jasmine Crockett had a lot of things to prove, whether fairly or unfairly. People are looking at the long range goal, not just your personal ambitions. But if you win the primary, will you carry the general? They want to flip Texas, not just give you a win.
So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, stand in line, wait in line, and if it means that I got to come out there with you to wait with you, I will do that.
Months, influencers and celebrities type folks in media have been saying Jasmine Crockett is the future of the Democratic Party. But last night, Texas said, what you talk about, Willis? Look that up, kids. You way before your time. Yeah, at the end of the day, Jasmine Crockett, her career in politics may be over. I personally had a problem with her that she would just say anything from deporting undocumented people is like slave patrols, and that black people didn't need jobs working in blue collar work, and that migrants gonna pick the cotton and black people tired of picking cotton, as if undocumented people only pick cotton in this country. Had a lot of problems with things she said. It wasn't that she's a black woman. It was that she was a black woman who said a lot of shit I just found totally repugnant and against what I think black people need, particularly a foundational black American. But at the end of the day, I was right. So was Stephen A. Smith. Did it have something to do with the way she was going at Donald Trump? I think Jasmine Crockett fell in love with the game. She fell in love with the camera. She fell in love with the soundbite. I mean, it had to be intoxicating. You go from being someone no one knew to being this national, if not international figure. It's a lot of pressure. But I want to know who was in her camp to tell her, pump the brakes. You need to build the leadership. You need to build coalition. You need to build the reputation of getting things done. You need to build more than just being a lightning rod for controversy and roasting Donald Trump. That's not going to carry you. And taking a dump on your governor, Greg Abbott, calling him Hot Wheels, criticizing his disability, anybody else would have been destroyed. But you were able to weather the storm with your popularity.
Yeah, she did skate by with that when she called him Governor Hot Wheels, which some people thought was funny, but it's kind of like that dude with the Tourette's, right? When Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo was presenting the awards, and some dude with Tourette's was shouting out, nigger, nigger, nigger. And they're like, no. Yeah, he called them a nigger, but he didn't mean it like that. He has Tourette's. Oh, my bad. I thought he really meant that they were niggers, but he was just calling them nigger because he has Tourette's, right? And then the people was like, hold on. Tourette's don't make you bigoted. Tourette's don't make you racist. It kind of just brings out what's already in your heart. You know what I mean? Then people were called, you're an ableist. You don't understand his disability and all this other type of stuff, right? But there's no history of anyone with Tourette's ever blurting out a Jewish slur. Just curious, right? And I'm not saying that Jewish people should be under attack and subject to slurs, but I'm just saying all slurs matter, right? When there was a white person up there, where was this Tourette's outburst to say nigger? So he doesn't call white people niggers. He didn't even have any slurs for white people. But black people come up there and he calls them niggers. But oops, it was just a Tourette's outburst. He really didn't mean it like that. Apparently, he called someone a bitch. You would know because they bleeped it. Apparently, he called someone a yagged with the F in front. Allegedly, but you don't really know because they just said he used a homophobic slur. Which one, though? No one knows. No one cares because they deleted it, right? It was on a 2-hour tape delay, but they made sure that everyone heard nigger loud and clear, right? Not nigga, nigger, right? They made sure that the hardest of ERs was attached to it. And oops, my bad. It was Tourette's, right? But why didn't people come for Jasmine Crockett's next? Now, some of the MAGA maniacs did, but they were just doing it for political theater. They didn't really care about ableism and stuff like that. America doesn't truly give a fuck about disabled people. They'll use them as a political football to advance interests, or they will use them to say that, hey, look, we know at some point many people in the dominant society will be disabled and handicapped. So here, let's try to lay out something to protect them. but they don't really give a fuck about disabled people. There's a bunch of disabled people all over the country. Israel is creating a bunch of disabled people with the genocide that's going on over there. There's been a genocide in America that left a bunch of people not only disenfranchised, but handicapped, right? And nobody cares. Nobody calls that ableist or anything like that. It's just like, you just got to deal with it. So the selective outrage when people want to try to fixate on standing up for someone's disability versus another one's is quite laughable.
So Jasmine Crockett going to the waterworks at some point. I mean, she was holding town halls, which I mean, I got nothing against that. It's just that this was not the way you run a statewide race. What I do not want to hear is that this has something to do with black men not supporting you. You got damn near 90% of the black vote. You can't get blood from a rock. Yeah. You got about all the black votes you can get. You're going to have to be to get some of them other people to follow you. And as usual, they didn't. As usual, white women and Latinos chose the less caffeinated beverage in Tallarico. Yeah. Maybe they didn't want somebody who was going to be.
And to be clear, I did a whole stream about this, Ricky, and most of my ire was for BAFTA, the people that didn't bleep it out. Like, unfortunately, we've been desensitized to saying nigga and being called nigger, you know what I mean? So, people say it's just a word, you know what I mean? So many people have gotten over that. However, even if it's just a word, that word should hold the same weight as any other slur, right? If there was a hierarchy or a stratification of slurs, N-word is at the top. But even though it's at the top of the most used and abused slur, it's not the most protected and sacred slur. That would be any Jewish slur. I got a trope that I say, if you put a gun to someone's head and tell them, say a Jewish slur or I'm going to pull the trigger, many people will say, hey, just go ahead and pull the trigger. Blow me to smithereens, because if I utter a Jewish slur, my life is over. Then that same person will turn around and say, nigger is just a word. You know what I mean? Well, so are these other slurs. They're all just words, right? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never. What? Y'all could fill in the blank. But yes, this is why I alluded to they could have cut it out. They chose not to cut it out. So it's not really about the dude with Tourette's yelling out nigger. It's about him being close enough, him being mic'd up, him being in proximity to where he could be heard. If that disease was so incurable and untamable, then yeah, you have to do things to mitigate, to ensure that the audience is able to enjoy the broadcast, enjoy the ceremony without being subjected to hearing racial epithets. And they got a saying, what would Jesus do? No, I say, what would Jews do? What would Jews do if that dude had yelled out a Jewish slur? Many people don't even know what the Jewish slurs are, but I'll give you a hint. One of them is Ike, and then you put a K in front of him. What if he accidentally said that? Would the response be the same, right? Would there be all of these bleeding hearts and empaths? Right. And this isn't even about Tourette's. I'm just bringing up the Tourette's because people have talked about the neurological disorder and said that it doesn't make you racist. It brings out what's already in your heart. So my main ire, as I said repeatedly, is for BAFTA. We've been used to people of various backgrounds yelling epithets at us, right? But we're not used to a broadcast on 2-hour tape delay making sure, going out of their way, that the N-word was heard to the entire globe. So I only got like a few more minutes left of this video, and then I'm going to get ready to shut her down.
Fighting Trump. I mean, for God's sake, folks, her opening ad to her race was a video where she didn't say anything that centered totally around her. It was clear, it was obvious she was running a race that was all about her personality and not so much about the people of Texas. And that, my friends, is that a recipe for success? Obviously Well, folks, I know it's going to be a lot of conversation about this. Jasmine Crockett has not come out and announced her defeat publicly yet, but she was signaling it in her speech last night.
In quick service and fast casual, speed and quality are everything, but it takes the right team.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why. So I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow.
At the end of the day, if you're running only on black votes, you better not take black voters for granted. You should be on every black podcast in the country. And to be honest, I didn't see her doing many away games. No. So which one is it? You're not running a conventional race. You're not focusing on analytics and infrastructure locally or the state level in order to get this going. You're focusing mostly on your social media presence, your followers, and just your ability to hit record and you just talk. Well, why weren't you on every platform imaginable? Why weren't you on every podcast? Why weren't you on the Stephen A. Smith Show? Why didn't you come to the Tim Black Show? Why weren't you everywhere? You just went to safe places like the Breakfast Club. Come on, man. There's so many other places you should have been. It doesn't make sense. Either you're in or you're out. Jasmine Crockett, does she have a future career in politics? Or will she be at a podcast coming to you? Or will she get a show on CNN? Maybe she'll team up with Benjamin Crump and go use some of her civil rights lawyering to make some change in the state of Texas. I'm Tim Black. Till next time, stay courageous, stay bold, but most of all, stay dangerous.
Okay, and there you have it. Jasmine Crash Out Crockett gets her Democratic nigga wake-up call, right? And I know Ricky in the chat was saying this should be a wake-up call for all black people. And like my sister Sunlight says, the majority of black people, the majority of people don't vote. And more of us should vote, but the politicians have to give us something to vote for. And I do want to continue to wake all people up, but especially my people, you know what I mean? Neither party cares about you, you know what I mean? So you need to have an inside-outside strategy, a strategy that will work within the establishment and be effective to integrate and infiltrate the establishment, but also you need to be able to build infrastructure without political backing, because they're actively using the political system to silence, shame, shun, and subjugate you, right? So when you look at the Black Panthers, for instance, when they were doing mutual aid, they didn't get the permission of the U.S. government and the establishment, right? So anyone in their own neighborhood, I know a lot of people, they like to leave comments, usually whiny comments, and usually those comments let me know that people aren't really building anything, right? Myself, I'm not a master's degree, didn't graduate from an Ivy League school, wasn't born with a silver spoon. I'm a dude from the hood, right? Dude straight from the streets, right? But by myself, I've already done a backpack drive for my community. I've done multiple food drives and giveaways. I've done multiple gift ceremonies and giveaway. I've tutored kids. I've mentored kids. I've offered many of my services at no cost or low cost. These are just the very basics. How many people could truly say that they're doing that, right? How many people will tutor someone else's kids? F them kids, them ain't my kids. So why are you even talking about community? You're not willing to build anything up for a community, but yet you keep complaining about a community. People will talk about crime. Okay, cool. What are you doing to mitigate crime? Are you going to go mentor those youth? Are you going to create after school programs? Are you going to create a boys and girls club, an establishment that they can go so that they're off the streets, that they can learn skills that will help them excel in life? You're not trying to create that, but you're waiting for some bigoted politician that doesn't give a fig about you to do it, right? That's on you, not really on them. And yes, the politician should be doing something for you. That's the reason why you pay taxpayer dollars. And this is what they claim that they want. They want to see more thriving and flourishing neighborhoods. The way you do that is by investing into the infrastructure, investing into the greatest resource, which is the human resource, right? So as Americans, you know, everyone has to do less talking and more building, less babbling, more building. Now, you do need to talk. You need to talk to communicate with each other. You need to talk to call out injustice and impropriety, but you also need to speak some of this to existence, right? Into fruition by organizing and building. I say organize, strategize, mobilize, right? And somebody says, aha, back to Popeye's Crockett's, invest in yourself. So, you know, this seems like a very bigoted statement, you know what I mean? Because why are you associating fried chicken with a black woman, right? When everyone loves fried chicken. So here we got a W bigot on here, Dunk Master or Dweeb Master, talking about Popeye's chicken. What, white people don't eat fried chicken? So if white people eat fried chicken, why are you making it a stereotype for black people? Fried chicken is delicious, by the way. What else you gonna say? Wash her Popeyes down with watermelon? Watermelon is delicious and healthy, by the way. But yeah, you know, the bigots are starting to come in, but luckily I'm about to shut her down. And I'm going to play a couple quick visuals and I will be out of here. I kind of got a hard stop. I got some things to do. I may come back a little bit later and hit y'all with a double header. All depends on how this video is received. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you.
Hey, 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 yo. B-Eazy is that dude you already know. For sure, you already know. It's easy to see why he is that dude. He's been a favorite, even if you hating it. Give him his flowers, pay him respect. He's a certified legend and one of the best. B-Eazy, remember the name. Woo!
B-Eazy Dat Dude.
Yeah. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. It's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Most them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I ride up on them with the 40 ounces. The definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon pepper. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. Better zip lips so you get hit when the fifth spit. Flat line in your fit hit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like boo-coo. For the cocaine, they go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on Chirac and fly back out the mill. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hear me flow, say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the boardroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah, they know the name. Big got to B-Eazy Dat Dude.
You love me. You really love me. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.